Hello and welcome. I'm Lauren.
And I'm Lena.
And this is
Pass Me the Booze, a paranormal podcast where we discuss the history and hauntings of local and not so local places while partaking in adult beverages.
In each episode, we share a different haunted place and pair it with a drink.
This week,
Salem! We did it!
Hey.
We
Third
did
time's
it
the
this
charm.
time. Third time's a charm. Hi, everyone. This is our third time trying to record this episode today.
It really is. Really is.
I'm going to put my head under the sink and fall asleep.
Same. Or just on the desk. So if my head just goes down, I'm asleep.
Oh my god.
I won't let you know that.
So hopefully, third time the charm with this. New browser. Hashtag new browser, new me.
And here you go.
Yeah, for some reason, I kept, my Chrome browser kept crashing and corrupting all of the recorded files. So this is our third time trying to record this episode.
Yes, it is.
So I'm gonna try to act genuinely surprised when you tell me these facts again.
I like to hear that. That
Lots
genuine surprise.
Ooh, ah.
Oh, really?
Yes.
Can you say? Well, before we get into the facts,
Yes.
what have you almost finished drinking at this point?
I'm so glad you asked. I'm almost finished drinking something called Witch's Brew.
Oh, what's that? I've never heard of that before.
I'm about to jump out a window. I'm sorry.
Don't you enjoy my sincere reactions?
I can really feel the sincerity in your voice.
Yes, thank you. I try.
But this Witch's Brew came from the Halloween party several weeks ago, and I still have a shit ton of it. It is bottom shelf gin with a shit ton of Blue Curacao and Sprite.
Yes. So what? It's plastic bottle gin.
Mm-hmm. So it really has that cheap flavor to it.
Lighter fluid. You gotta love it.
What are you drinking?
I am drinking. You've asked me this third time's the charm.
know.
Still don't know the fucking name of this beer. I'm drinking the same beer that I was drinking last time we recorded because I have a growler of that shit, and it was, I will say, it was delicious the first time, that first night, and it's like the peach cranberry apple cobbler dessert beer.
Yes.
And it's a sour, and it tasted really good. But I think it's fermented more.
Because it's just been sitting around.
Sitting in my fridge. So at the end of this cup, it actually is starting to taste just kind of like vinegar.
Ugh. Ugh. And I know that, drinking, sweeter beers, sometimes, the novelty wears off after a while, and you're just kind of this doesn't taste as good as it did the first time anymore.
No, and, I liked this one a lot because it's not just that it's sweet, it's also, it's tart because it's got the sour, and it's a sour.
Yeah.
But it's not sitting well.
Ugh. Doesn't age well.
It did not age well. It's not like you and me.
Oh, yeah. So, would you like to tell me your wonderful facts about our topic this week?
I would love to.
Let's dive in.
Them up.
Yes.
Let's dive in to the year 1626. So Salem was originally founded in 1626 by Roger Conant. I think I've pronounced his name 3 different ways. Yeah, so Roger Cannon, who fucking knows, and a group of immigrants from Cape Ann first settled the town, and it was called Namkeg.
Okay.
Not pronounced that way, I can guarantee you that, but that's how I'm pronouncing it.
I trust you.
Thank you. It's got the word keg in it, so I figured we'd be on the same page there.
Appropriate.
Yeah. However, the settlers preferred to call the town Salem, which is a word derived from the Hebrew word for peace.
Ironic.
Irony. Yeah.
Indeed.
Indeed, good sir. So, in 1628, the Massachusetts Bay Company arrived in Salem, and John Endicott led a group of settlers to lay the groundwork for thousands of Puritans coming to this town.
Okay.
And to America, really. Yeah. Dicks. So in 1629, the town of Salem is issued a charter by the monarch of England, giving them the rights of self-rule and autonomy.
Okay.
And in the same year, the first Congressional Society was founded by Puritan pioneers. Now, the kind of fucked up thing about that is that they did not allow non-Puritans to kind of be a part of that with them. It was
it's
either,
weird.
yeah, it's either you're a Puritan and you're in, or you're out.
And that's odd to me, because aren't they basically worshiping the same thing?
So, from what I remember, because I don't know what Puritans believe nowadays.
Okay.
But Puritans believed historically they were people who had turned away from the Catholic faith because they thought that, saints were worshiping worshiping the false gods. They thought that the statues and the artwork that the church had was them worshiping idols. And also just had a lot of different beliefs, but a lot of them stemmed from rebelling against the stern rule of the church.
Oh, okay.
Now that got completely whatchamacallited, fucked up.
It went completely sideways.
Yeah.
What they set out to do is not what they ended up with.
Yeah. And the basic Puritan beliefs is that God and purity. So very against strong women. Very patriarchal.
Yes.
Sure. I think I said that word right. It's been a moment. But also very, very against sex.
Boo.
So if there was a sex positive person, the Puritan would be the exact opposite of that person.
Oh, well, that sounds boring.
Incredibly vanilla. But also, not just vanilla, dangerous, because as you will see when we continue. So skipping ahead a little in the historical timeline, and there are a lot of really cool history tidbits and fun facts, but none of them really truly relate to the witch trials, which is what we're focusing on.
Yes.
But just kind of know that from 1629 to 1675, Puritans kind of took over and did their thing of forcing others to follow their specific brand of Christianity, hating on Catholics, and kind of putting the thumb down on people.
Just being jerks.
So in 1675, the home of Judge Jonathan Corwin
Mm-hmm.
is completed. This is the house known as the Witch House.
Ooh.
Corwin was the judge who presided over the Salem witch trials and lived in this house. And a lot of the preliminary questionings for the witch trials were actually held in that house, which is why it's
Ooh.
called the Witch House.
Right.
So, cool. In the spring of 1692, the Salem witch trials began after a group of young girls claimed to be possessed by the devil and accused several local women of witchcraft.
Ooh.
Soon, hold on, I've lost my spot. Soon, the wave of hysteria spread, and a special court was convened in Salem to hear the cases of witchcraft. However, Bridget Bishop was the first convicted witch and was hung in June of 1692.
Ugh.
Others followed, with roughly 150 men, women, and children being accused of witchcraft.
Children. That gets me.
So by September 1692,
Yes.
the hysteria had begun to subside, and public opinion turned against the trials. So before, everybody was like, yeah, no, we've got to do this. And then after 3 months,
You're like, wait, this is kind of fucked up.
Wait a second here.
Hang on.
And the trials completely ceased when Governor William Phipps disbanded the court after his wife was accused of being a witch.
Yeah, go figure. As soon as it gets a little too close to home, he's like, wait, no, never mind.
I know. It's like, come
Maybe
on,
this
dude.
is bad.
You could have fucking stepped up here. Like, there are so many things you could have done, and you chose to fuck up.
Just look the other way.
Yeah. Well, so a superior court of judicature was formed to replace the court of oyer and terminer, which is the court that was holding the trials. And the new court did something very different than the old court, where they would not allow spectral evidence.
So spectral evidence.
So spectral evidence, as I'm remembering two attempts ago, as I beautifully enacted out spectral evidence. Spectral evidence is evidence of the unseen. So, like, these girls were claiming things and claiming to see things and being, like, hurt by some unseen force and saying that it was the person that they're accusing doing it to them. So, like, if I was accusing you of witchcraft,
right,
spectral evidence could be me sitting in a courtroom screaming that your witch hag is biting my arm and I'm dying and you're killing me and it's you. I see you. You're here. You're trying to kill me and make me shut up so that I don't tell everybody else you're a witch. And
like, no, you're bananas. Go sit down.
Well, the Superior Court of Judicature pretty much was like, no.
Seems
However,
legit.
Court of Oyer and Terminer were like, oh, that's a witch. Look at this child being harmed.
She's got it. Hang her up.
Yeah, right. So the MA General Court later would annul guilty verdicts against accused witches and grant indemnities to their families. However, despite these actions, a lasting bitterness lingered in the community for what had been done.
You don't say.
But it's also like, bros, you kind of did this to yourself.
Sorry? Here's some money.
Yeah. But it's also like, my thing with this is okay, y'all participated in the group hysteria and this group think of how horrible these women were. and the men and children who were accused of witchcraft, like how horrible they must have been, and then pursued legal action that would ultimately result in their deaths.
Yeah.
And then at the end of it, after 19 innocent people were killed in a span of 3 fucking months,
Jesus Christ.
you're kind of like, oh, maybe we went too far, but it's your fault.
It's not like it was an accident. They took all of the steps.
I know.
All of the steps to get to that point deliberately. Like, what?
And y'all were fucking screaming and supporting about it throughout the entire fucking process.
It's bananas.
Shit's bananas. So then, so within 3 months, 19 innocent people were killed.
Jesus.
18 were hanged.
Yes.
And 1 person was pressed to death.
Ugh.
So for those of you who don't know what that means, it means that heavy rocks and boulders were placed on top of you until you were squished.
It doesn't get easier to hear the second time around.
No.
Oh,
no.
God.
No, this is bad. So in 1693, Cotton Mather published a book, and it's the most famous of his books, called Wonders of the Invisible World. And he claimed that it contained proof of witchcraft. And wrote and published this as a form of rebellion against the refusal to accept spectral evidence. So this motherfucker was literally so pissed that the court was like, we're not gonna do that no more. Y'all actually have to, like, give me some evidence here that this is a witch.
That sounds like a man who had a list that he didn't get to complete.
Right?
You know what I mean?
It sounds psychotic. But he was so offended that they wouldn't allow people's, like, fucking hallucinations as fact that he wrote and published a fucking book. I wish I had the fucking audacity and, like, the energy that every time someone disagrees with me, that I can just sit down and write a fucking book and then publish it.
And call out all the people you hate as witches.
Yeah.
That sounds like what he was trying to do.
It's like he wrote and published a burn book. It's weird.
He did. You poor fucking sap.
Men are... Ugh. I feel so bad for them.
With all their emotions.
Ugh. They need to calm down.
Oy vey.
Smile more. So... It's been a weird 24 hours, okay?
We're gonna get yelled at.
Yes. Yes, we are. But the question is, do I care?
No, that's your answer.
No, I really don't. So in advance, I don't care. This is my opinion. Now back to some facts. So the big question was, why? Like, what sparked this huge mass hysteria, and what sparked the accusations?
Yeah.
Well, some of it could be fungus in the bread.
Yeah.
So the group of girls who were claiming that they were being attacked all had similar symptoms, including epileptic fits, fevers, aches, pains, hallucinations.
Ooh.
And clearly there was a toxin that they were exposed to that was easily impacting children versus adults.
Right. They're probably more sensitive.
Think about it. As an example, my niece when I was back home last, we made steak-umm. Minute steak. And Lydia did not like it.
Mhm.
She ate the littlest bit,
Oh.
and then 5 minutes later, immediately was in the bathroom
Oh.
puking and
Yeah, because her
having the
system,
runs.
isn't used to
It
it. She
flew through
hasn't.
her.
Yeah. Her
Yeah.
body's not developed enough to actually process that kind of stuff. So that makes sense that the children were more affected if there was mold in the bread
Yeah.
or some kind of fungus.
Well, and to the extent of like, oh, why weren't the adults impacted as greatly?
It probably
Like,
just, it affected them differently.
it did, because that night, like sleeping and then waking up and then the next day, I had horrible ajna.
Ah.
Like, it kept coming up. And then I
Uh-huh.
found out that like everyone else who ate the fucking food also had the same
Oh
ajna that I had as
no.
adults.
It was just kind of delayed.
Yeah. So the
Okay.
point being is that
Right.
like kid eat something immediate. Adults, like 7 to 10 hours later, we're going,
Yes.
oh, huh,
I don't feel so good.
there's some heartburn here. Um, so another adding like to why this became so horrific
Yes.
was that when some of the women were accused, they confessed in an attempt to save themselves from torture.
Yeah.
And also from, like, they were trying to not be hanged and not die.
I mean,
And one of the ways that they were able to try to save themselves was saying, yes, I'm guilty, I'm turning away from the devil, I'm accepting the Lord and Savior Jesus Christ.
I'm ready to go to rehab.
Yeah. And here are some other witches.
Uh-huh.
And it created this really vicious cycle of someone's accused, to save their own neck, they accuse others.
Yeah. Just like,
and
I will give up, all these people so you can flush them out if you let me live.
Yeah.
Ugh.
And many of the settlers had come from England,
Mm-hmm.
where they had either grown up during or heard about the witch trials in Britain,
Oh.
which also could have sparked such a severe response. So from 1484 to 1750, it's estimated that 200,000 witches were tortured, burnt, or hanged in Western Europe.
Oh my god. That's such a big number.
And honestly, there's probably more. This is
Yeah.
just that we have record of.
Mm-hmm.
And what you'll hear about in a little bit is that some people did some really fucking sketchy shit.
No doubt.
So that 200,000 is like the grain of salt of maybe.
Maybe on the lower end. Minimum.
Yeah.
Ugh.
So torture included the use of thumb screws, which are the those, which pretty much crushed your phalange, slowly and painfully. And then I'm gonna butcher how I say this, but Caspi claws.
Caspi claws.
And those are a form of leg irons heated over an open flame and then applied to the skin.
Mm-hmm.
Both of which would elicit confessions from the supposed witch.
Confessions. Yeah.
Clearly.
Sure.
Because I would say any fucking thing, too, if someone was putting a fucking thumb screw in me.
I'll say whatever the fuck you want. I will sing for you. Jesus Christ.
So, roughly 50 years before the Salem witch trials, many of the Puritan counties fell prey to bigoted preachers whose mission was to seek out the latest whiff of heresy And that mentality was what they were raised with. So, you know how earlier we talked about how, like, the Puritans started as something, as,
Right.
like, the, you know, Christian light version of Catholicism, without, like, the
Catholic
parts they
light.
didn't like.
Yeah.
Catholic light. And this was one of those other things that they don't count it as that it negatively impacted their beliefs and their faith
Ugh.
structures, but it did, because, like, the fire and brimstone shit
Yeah.
was not necessarily originally a part of the dynamic there,
Oh
and
God.
it became a part during those witch trials in Britain.
Yeah.
And people, like, fucking used and abused them because of this too. So, a man by the name of Matthew Hopkins.
Okay.
Hopkins was a failed lawyer.
Ah.
Like, failed miserably at being a lawyer. So he decided to name himself Witchfinder General,
Okay.
and then put 68 people to death in a single town,
Oh my
hanging
God.
19 of them in a single day.
19 in one day?
Yeah,
I
motherfucker
thought
killed
19
19
in.
people in one
Oh my
day.
God. I thought 19
68
in
in the
3 months was a
entire
lot.
town. So he traveled area to area doing this
Oh
while
my
charging
God.
money for his services.
What the fuck?
Yeah.
The nerve.
And he was pretty much going town to town and going, yo, you got any undesirables?
Oh
Because
my
I'm a witch
God.
finder general. I can find them for you and help with the burden on your society, if you know what I'm saying here.
The burden on your society. Oh my God.
So long as you pay me. And, like,
What?
yeah, no, and some of, like, what he was charging was insane. At the, like, for the time, he was
Oh,
making bank doing this. He was making
like a
bank to be a
lawyer's
fucking
salary?
murderer. Yeah.
Wow.
So
What a dipshit.
Hopkins was a fan of something called the Devil's Mark theory.
Uh-oh.
So a wart or a mole, or really any blemish on the skin that he deemed to be a devil's mark, he would
Uh,
he would strip search people, pretty much, find a
oh.
blemish, and then he would test the mark by stabbing the spot on the person, and if the
Yeah.
person couldn't feel anything, they were a witch. However, this
Oh.
motherfucker had a needle
Uh-huh.
that was a 3-inch long spike with a retractable spring-loaded handle.
What?
So no one could ever feel anything because they
Oh
weren't
my
actually being
God.
fucking stabbed.
That's shiesty.
You know,
Oh my God, I
like
hate this guy.
you know how you're like, oh
Yeah,
look,
like
I'm gonna stab myself. Yeah,
literally like a
no,
retractable pen.
it's literally, but it was a 3-inch
Oh my
blade
God.
that then went back into the handle.
What a character.
Mm-hmm. So of course no one never felt anything,
Mm.
because motherfucker wasn't actually doing anything. That's like, I would be like, oh my God, I feel it.
Yeah, right? Like, oh, if you don't feel this, that means you're a witch. Whether I felt it or not, I would be like, ow.
Yeah,
Well,
same.
looks like I'm good.
I'd be like, oh, yeah, you stabbed me. Why would you do such a thing, sir?
Are we done here?
He would also use the swimming test, which, thinking about it and, like, just listening to those words, doesn't sound too bad. However,
Uh-oh.
if you sink, it's the one, if you sink, you're innocent. If you float, you're a witch. However, he would take it a step further. In tying people's hands to their feet. So that, in yoga, like, happy baby pose.
Yeah, it's just like scrunched up.
Kind of scrunched up, but no, like, kind of out. So, like, literally this.
She's gonna demonstrate for us. Yeah, okay.
That.
Like, it's like a hog tie thing, right?
Kind of, but called? Like, feet apart.
Okay. Oh, okay.
Literally the yoga, like the content child yoga pose.
Okay.
Where you lay on your back, this hand grabs this foot, this hand grabs this foot, and you hold them up like that. He would tie people up like that. And have you ever been swimming?
Sure. Once or twice.
What happens if you're in a pose like that?
I can't swim.
Can't swim. Fair point. But also, if you're floating on your back,
yeah,
what fucking happens?
You're gonna fucking sink.
No, you float.
Oh,
that's the fucking issue.
Oh, see, I thought you could float like being like flat like a starfish.
I mean, you can that way too, but like really all you're doing is you're creating like a human buoy.
Yeah. Oh no. He made them more buoyant.
Yes. So the motherfucker just threw people like, oh look, I don't know, you're fucking floating there, man. You're a witch.
What?
Sorry. So the last reminder of Hopkins' reign of terror was actually discovered in Essex in 1921.
Okay.
2 female skeletons were found in an unmarked grave with iron rivets driven through their joints. Yeah. So this was done. This was a practice that was done to ensure that witches couldn't return from the dead.
Oh, what the fuck?
However, like, skeletal examinations showed that they were driven through the joints while they were alive, and then they were buried.
Oh my god. Oh my god.
Yeah. So this motherfucker pretty much was like the best serial killer the world has ever seen.
Yeah.
All in all, Hopkins was responsible for over 300 murders.
Lena.
All happening incredibly shortly before Salem's witch trials, and it was really fresh in Puritan history.
Are you fucking kidding me?
No. Like, all of this happened, like, he killed 300 fucking people.
What
and then,
the
like,
fuck?
a 5-10 year window, and then people were doing the Salem witch trials. Like, this all happened within a very, like, the Britain witch trials as a whole lasted centuries.
Yeah.
Because 1484, or decades rather, not centuries, decades. 1484 to 1750.
That's a long fucking time.
That is, hold on, because I'm bad at math. I got you. Let me pull up the calculator. That's not the calculator. That's the calendar. I do that a lot. So, but 1750 minus 1484. Yeah, that's 266 years of
Holy
witch trials.
Shit.
And it's fascinating to look at Britain's witch trial history.
Yes.
And there's so many like layers to that too, because like at one point the King of England like even wrote his own doctrine on how to find a witch and like demonology and shit like that. Like, it was a wild time.
How-to 101s.
Yeah, pretty much. Like, yeah, it's I forget which one he was, but it was one of the kings pretty much wrote how to find and kill a witch.
Oh no, he wrote the first how-to for dummies.
Yeah, pretty much. And then dispersed it.
Oh my god.
And all of that was very, very fresh in the minds of our dear Salem people.
Mm-hmm.
Because, again, a lot of those Puritans came from England with this fresh history of what happened.
Mm-hmm.
So it's not a shock that this happened. It's a shock it only lasted 3 months.
Yeah, again, I'm still surprised at that.
Yeah.
I'm glad it only 3 months, but Jesus.
Only 3 months. Only 150 people accused. Only 19 dead in 3 months.
Jesus Christ.
They were nowhere near Hopkins' level of murder and rage.
Something wrong with that fella.
There really was. Like, I almost turned this entire episode, just doing research on him, into an episode on that motherfucker.
You really could. Oh my god.
It was bad. He was fucking psychotic. And like looking at what they cuz when a town or like a city pays for something,
yeah,
they keep a record of it.
Right.
The historical record of what towns were paying this motherfucker were insane.
Much was it? Do you have like an amount and a conversion rate?
I don't have a conversion rate.
Okay.
But one of the amounts, hang on, let me pull up notes.
Yes.
So one of the amounts was, as I hit the mic, like motherfucker got like 16 pence for finding one witch. Like, and that doesn't seem like a lot.
No, I'm wondering what the conversion rate for that would be. From
that time period to now.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Probably a lot.
Probably. Think about it this way. It's also, it wasn't to put the witch to death, because that was another line on the books. In the bookkeeping, because they paid for each service he did. Just to find a witch. 16 pence. So he got paid 16 fucking pence to fake stabbing someone.
Oh my god. Be stabbing people left and right. Are you kidding me?
Yeah. Yeah. So if you ever discover time travel and you want to make some money,
no,
go find him.
Oh no.
And just stab him.
Yeah, you know what? Let's just turn it on him.
Mm-hmm.
Just take his practices. I was gonna say I'm not doing that, but
yeah, no, like this motherfucker. The pure and utter audacity. No, like he really, really is like one of the world's most successful serial killers.
I would say so. He did it in front of everybody and everyone was just cool with it.
Not only that, but he got fucking paid to do it too, dude. Like, come on.
Crazy.
I don't think I actually know of any other serial killer who was paid by like town officials and government to kill people.
Yeah, me either. No serial killers, maybe some politicians, but
I mean, sure, but like he was like
just a guy.
He fucking failed lawyer who decided one day he's gonna wake up and call himself a fucking witch finder general. Like, you have to be so mentally unwell.
The confidence.
Well, he's Jesus. A man, so.
Yeah.
But I am excited to find and hear some spooky shit.
Yes. Let's take a turn. I'm gonna bring up my notes here.
Lena, do you know what I love?
A shot of Annie Get Your Gun with a chaser of ginger ale?
I mean, yeah, but I also love not leaving my house.
Dude, same. I love my bed and my blankets, and they have accepted me as one of their own, and if I leave now, they will never trust me again.
Don't compromise that relationship.
I can't.
but
especially right now.
yes, especially during a pandemic. Don't leave your house. And the last thing I want to do is go out to the grocery store when I could just have everything I need delivered to my house.
Is that why you Instacart?
That is exactly why I Instacart. They can deliver fresh groceries straight to my door, sometimes in as little as 1 hour. Or I can schedule the delivery if I'm not going to be around.
Instacart now also has multiple options based on your needs, from pet stores to your local pharmacy and our personal favorite, even alcohol.
Hell yeah.
And they even have a section for people who use food stamps, so you can find exactly what you need all in one place.
So follow the link in our show notes to go to instacart.com to get free delivery on your first order of $10 or more.
Instacart. Never take a step in a grocery store ever the again.
Hey, Lauren. Hey, Lena.
How do we do this?
Do it.
Make our podcast.
Oh, we use Buzzsprout. Do you want to know one of the best things about it?
What?
You can start a show for free.
That's my favorite 4-letter F word.
Buzzsprout is hands down the easiest and best way to launch, promote, and track your podcast. Your show can be online and listed in all the major podcast directories like Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Google Podcasts, and wherever else you get your podcasts.
Buzzsprout wants their podcasters to succeed. So, in addition to distributing your podcast for you, you'll get a great looking podcast website, detailed analytics, promotional tools, and they'll even help you pick out the right equipment for you, and that's just scratching the surface.
So follow the link in our show notes to let Buzzsprout know we sent you and get a great deal on every subscription level. If you sign up for a paid plan, this also gets you a $20 Amazon gift card that you could put towards, I don't know, a new microphone for your podcast.
Oh, that's a low blow. And of course, this helps support our show. So follow the link in our show notes to go to buzzsprout.com and join over 100,000 podcasters already using Buzzsprout to get their message out to the world.
Buzzsprout, the easiest way to start a podcast.
So, we're actually going to start off with the witch house that belonged to John Corwin back in the day. So, the witch house is the only surviving structure with direct ties to the Salem witch trials, and it stayed in the Corwin family until the 1800s. In that time, the house was home to the title of the Corwin Curse. As 8 members of the Corwin family sadly met tragic and premature deaths before the year 1718. I would call that karmatic justice.
Probably. But also, like, what do you mean?
So here is the list of deaths that happened in the house.
Okay.
So Jonathan and his wife Elizabeth had 8 children together, and 5 of them died.
Yeah, but
So-
like that's also very typical for the time.
It is very
Playing-
common.
Playing the devil's advocate here.
Yes.
That was like a Tuesday.
Yeah, in those times for sure. But it's like at that time they were just like, why is this happening? All of our children are dying. And it was in the span, it was in like a 6-year span that 5 of their kids died. So there was John at 9 weeks old, Margaret 6 months, Anna, who died at the age of 19, and then both Jonathan and Herbert died at 3 months and the other at 8 weeks. I mean, like, after this...
babies.
I know. After, like, the second child death, I would have been like, nope, that's it. We're not trying anymore. This is... Nope.
Well,
We're not meant to have kids.
it's like that would be a part of the conversation, I think. But like, it's also it was so integral to their societal norms to have children.
Just keep
to-
popping them out.
Well, one for labor purposes,
Yeah.
but also
More-
like a
Yeah. Mhm.
like that was very big with them. So
Yep.
I get why they kept trying, but at the same time I'm with you. I wouldn't, like, after
no.
baby number 1 died, I'd be like,
Nope, that's it.
after baby
We're
number
done.
2 died, I'd be like, nope, this
No
is
more.
closed.
Closed for business. So by 1717, their surviving son, Reverend George Corwin, took over as head of the household. But guess what? He ended up dying that same year that he took over the house, and then his wife, and then both Jonathan and Elizabeth died in that year.
But what did they die from?
It was a fever.
I mean, okay,
So,
cool.
Yeah.
But like,
I'm not sure what kind of fever, but
COVID.
a fever. Basically. So, the witch house was eventually moved about 35 feet back in the 40s due to the expansion of nearby roads, at which point they found bones on the property, which were never identified.
That sounds sketchy.
Disturbing a grave, that's a big no-no.
Just a little bit. Just like this much.
You should put that thing back where it came from, or so help me.
So help me. So help me. And cut.
It's a work in progress, but it's gonna get better. So
we're going to Disney. I'm calling it now. We're fucking going to Disney, okay?
We're gonna write it off as a business expense.
Disney episode in Disney.
Incoming. So, hauntings in the house include disembodied voices, cold spots, and being touched. There have been a few reports of people hearing the voice of a little girl. While no executions happened in the house, some people think it to be the youngest victim of the trials, who was a 4-year-old girl. Yeah.
I hate that so much.
It's not a good feeling.
No.
But especially because Corwin never showed any remorse or offered any apology, so maybe there are a few angry souls that found their way to his house.
Maybe.
That's my thought.
Or we have a very inaccurate history because there's fucking bones on the property, dude.
Yeah, I don't know what that's about. No one knows why the fuck they're there. Like, I imagine, like, the members of the family, they would be buried on a specific plot, not...
Yeah, no, like, you would think that, like, family would have at least a marked grave.
Right. So...
Because, like, family plots, or family, like, cemeteries, not seminaries.
Yeah.
Dear Lord. Family cemeteries still are a very prevalent thing.
Yeah.
Among, the well-to-dos.
Yeah, and he was up there, so, like...
Motherfucker would have had his own grave.
Absolutely. And he was buried on a family plot when he died, so... Yeah, I don't know what that's about.
They did something. That sounds like some sketchy shit.
I agree. So, fast forward to 2011, Ghost Adventures did a lockdown at the witch house. And they were the first investigators allowed to investigate the property. They had to get permission from the town council of Salem to step foot on the property. So,
oh wow,
interesting little tidbit. Yeah. So during their initial walkthrough during the day, Zach felt something touch his hand and his audio immediately died. So he did what any good investigator would do and did a quick EVP session to ask if anyone was with him, and he got a female voice almost immediately. And the guy they were with was visibly freaked out. I don't think she was expecting them to actually catch anything.
I mean, probably not. Would you? Like, think about it. Would you be like, oh yeah, they're definitely gonna get the ghosts?
Yeah, she was like, just like, oh yeah, something touched her hand, sure. And then like she heard the voice and was just like, oh, okay.
What did the voice say?
You couldn't really make it out, but it was definitely like a feminine voice saying something. Yeah. And later when they do their lockdown, they find a cold spot that seems to be lingering in one of the rooms, at which point Zach starts to feel super sad. He wonders if this is one of the children projecting their emotions onto him, And later they play back the audio from an EVP session in that room, and you can clearly hear someone say, "Don't go in there."
No, you know, I like the warnings, but I wish that the warnings would come before the people could do the
Right?
stupid thing.
Say it louder.
Yeah, motherfucker.
On a different frequency. So later, they bring in a local witch and a warlock to perform a ritual in the house in order to draw out the spirits.
That
Of
sounds
course,
safe.
as you do.
That's some like, here, let me play with the fucking Ouija board shit.
Let's just poke at it a little bit, see what happens. Let's poke the bear.
That is some, what was his name? Guy from BuzzFeed. That's some shit.
Yeah. Truly. So as soon as they set up their space for the ritual, I lost my space. Yeah. As soon as they set up their space for the ritual and begin, there is a PX device that generates words in like a robot voice. And this thing started going crazy after it had been silent all night, and it just kept saying the word apple over and over. This will come into play in a minute.
Okay.
After the ritual, they do a spirit box session, and Zach asks, "What is the name of the skull that was on the table?" And the spirit box says Robert, which is the name of the skull that Christian, the warlock, gave it years ago. So Zach asked, "What is the name of the warlock in front of me?" And it said Christian Day, to which Christian nonchalantly replied, "They know me on the other side." Zach asked if they could call out one of their names in the group, and the box replied, "Which one?" And then asked, "How did you die?" And a woman replied, "Hanged." And when asked what her name was, she replied, "Bridget Bishop." Do you know what Bridget Bishop owned? An apple orchard.
Oh, look at that. The connection. Oh, I did get like shivers just now too. I will admit that. I got like goosebumpies. I was like, oh, that was a good one. Oh.
So that could be a fun place to visit for y'all. Yeah. So then we're going to move on to the most famous haunted location in Salem, called the Turner Ingersoll Mansion, otherwise known as the House of Seven Gables.
Oh, the Gables.
Yes, the Gables.
The Gables.
So starting off as the home of a hat and shoe merchant named John Turner, it now functions as a museum and event location where you can learn about Salem and author Nathaniel Hawthorne. For context, John Turner first owned the house, and after 3 generations, the house was bought by Samuel Ingersoll and frequently had his nephew, Nathaniel Hawthorne, come over for visits. So Nathaniel Hawthorne, for those who don't know, was an author whose great-grandfather, actually a notorious judge for the Salem witch trials, John Hawthorne. Mm-hmm. And Nathaniel was so ashamed of his family history that he actually wrote an apology at the beginning of his debut book, The Scarlet Letter. So for many years, there have been a number of spirits reported at the Turner Ingersoll Mansion. Visitors often see the apparition of a man clambering up and down the famous secret staircase in the mansion. This staircase, she's shaking her head no. I agree. I don't like the word clambering.
It's that's like the speed with the chair. That's so alarming. It's just
I'm imagining, like, you know, when you would walk up the stairs on all fours as a kid.
Yeah,
that's kind of what I'm picturing.
Oh, that makes it so much worse. No, I honestly, like, when I hear the word clamoring, I imagine, like, yes, like the movement of that. But like really like heavily stomping up and like throwing temper tantrum, like hitting really the walls, hitting the floor, like you're tantruming here. All of
Throwing his
it.
whole body.
Yes, he throws the body across the room to like the other side.
Oh,
He's doing it to
no.
himself though. It's fine.
So this staircase was actually built during the mass hysteria of the witch trials, by which John Turner Jr., who wanted to protect his sisters during that time. So other secret rooms have been found in the house, including a dining room and an accounting room, which Hawthorne wrote about his novel, The House of Seven Gables. So that's kind of cool. There was actually one sane person during the trials that was just like, I have to hide my sisters and myself, so I'm going to create secret rooms in my house.
Mm-hmm.
Very smart.
Well, because people were just fucking willy-nilly accusing.
Mm-hmm. He's like, nope, don't want any of that tea. So guests and employees alike will often experience lights turning on and off, shadow figures, and faucets turning on by themselves. Another frequently seen ghost is Susanna Ingersoll, Sam's daughter and Nathaniel's cousin. She is reported to have died in the house. People often see her wandering the halls and peeking out the second-story window, looking at people coming into the house. Lastly, many reports come from the attic of the mansion, which include disembodied voices and a feeling of uneasiness like you're being watched. Some people, yeah, not my favorite.
No, and it's the location.
Yeah. Why's it gotta be in an attic?
Yeah.
Some people have reported feeling lightheaded and extreme anxiety to the point where it was hard to breathe. There are also reports of a ghost boy who likes to play in the attic, and his little footsteps and giggles can be heard throughout the day. No one knows who he is, but one historian claims that this space was where the servants lived and the little boy was one of them. I don't know how accurate that is, but it was there, so I'm reporting it.
Oh, Lord.
Yeah.
I don't know, but like that'd be interesting to try and
Mhm.
find out more of.
Yeah. If there was like a servant's quarters in that space, and that's why maybe there's some kind of sad energy.
Yeah.
And now I have some places you can stay in Salem if you would like and experience some spooky stuff while you try to sleep.
Yes.
So first we have the Hawthorne Hotel. Before the Hawthorne, this building was known as the Franklin Building, built in 1809. The idea behind it was to create a universal building for various groups like small businesses, offices, and even luxury apartments.
Okay.
So it was like very highbrow. So from 1845 to 1860, the Franklin Building caught on fire 3 times.
Only 3.
Only 3. But the last fire was described to be so intense that in spite of efforts to save it, the noble structure was a complete mess of ruins.
I call bullshit. They didn't
So
try.
sad, too bad.
Yeah.
You didn't try hard enough to stop the fire.
Clearly, you could have. You did it twice before.
Why couldn't you get this third one under control?
Yeah.
So then it was in 1921 that the Hawthorne Hotel was built in its place, named, of course, after Nathaniel Hawthorne. Obviously. Fun fact, the cast of Bewitched stayed in the hotel during the time of filming the Salem Saga episodes because their studio set in Hollywood caught on fire. So, in 1997, some weird parallels going on here.
There is, but like also, why the fuck would you stay at the hotel that's burned down 3 times after your set just got burned down?
This seems like a good place to stay. This is fine. It's got a good history behind it.
Oh yeah.
So, here's another one for you.
Oh, no.
In 1997, when the hotel was getting ready for their annual Halloween ball, a small fire started in the basement.
Just spontaneous combustion
Spontaneous.
or... Oh, Lord.
We don't know. But this led some people to
Yeah? Yes. Same.
Suspect that maybe these fires were being caused by something more sinister than careless people or faulty wiring. Author Sam Baltrusis of Ghosts of Salem says that it's possible that the psychic imprint from the cursed land's past may have caused the I'm sorry, I'm going too fast now. The cursed land's past may have caused what parapsychologists call an aura of disaster, fertile ground for the birthing of ghosts. Basically, in layman's terms, we think there's a portal there.
Okay, that makes more sense, because I was going to be like, how do you birth a ghost? Can you just paint me a diagram?
He's an author, of course. It's going to be a little flowery. So, the top floor of the hotel that once belonged to the Salem Marine Society is also an area reported to be haunted. So, the top floor was designed to look like an exact replica of the cabin from the Tarria Topan, which was their ship, I guess.
Mm-hmm.
The employees have claimed to see the ship's helm turning, and items that were once locked up have been found strewn across the ground.
Oh.
Yeah.
Ghost with a tantrum.
Someone's upset. Other experiences involve faucets being turned on and off and toilets flushing by themselves. On one occasion, a woman woke up in the middle of the night to find her son terrified and cowering. When asked what was wrong, he said that he heard a child sobbing in the room with them. Gross.
Are you sure you just weren't listening to yourself, kid?
It was just echoing off the walls. And he just got more and more upset.
Yeah.
So, if you're looking to experience some spooky shit for yourself, I'm going to tell you what rooms have the most activity, so you can try to book them yourself.
Mm-hmm.
So there's room 325 and room 612. Both of these rooms, in both of them, guests have reported phantom hands tugging at their sheets at night, as well as hands touching their hair and hands when they were trying to sleep. Mm-mm. No, thank you. No. Don't touch me when I'm trying to sleep.
Yeah, especially not my hands and my hair. Like, especially hair.
Especially.
Yeah.
Just don't touch me, period.
I mean, sure, but, like, especially don't touch my hair. Like, I play with my hair a lot. Don't while I'm fucking asleep, be like...
You gotta ask first. And then, so specifically in room 612, many people have reported seeing a ghostly woman walking around the room, and some have even caught her checking herself out in the mirror. I mean,
get it, girl.
Tour guides have a couple of theories as to the cause of this activity. One theory is that the ghosts are victims of the Salem witch trials. The other theory is that the fires themselves have created a fissure of paranormal activity. So there's the portal theory again. Mm-hmm. And historians claim that executions hadn't occurred on this spot of land, so a lot of people lean towards the latter.
I mean, again, I'm gonna go with a fourth theory. That we have an inaccurate historical record of what the fuck happened.
Like, where the executions took place, or I mean, I don't doubt that.
I can fully see them, like, torturing someone at the witch house, it going too fucking far, and the person dying during that questioning.
Yeah, absolutely.
Because, like, to clarify, that is what that means. It's not that they were actually being questioned. It means that they were being tortured. Yeah,
for information.
Yes.
They weren't formally executed in the house, but yeah, I can totally believe, the questioning going too far, which it often did, and someone dying in the house. Mm-hmm. Someone's, for that matter.
Mm-hmm. Plural.
Hmm.
Had that I am at the end of the word.
All right, so I have another hotel you can stay at if the Hawthorne Hotel doesn't work out for you. So it's called the Salem Inn. Current owners Dick and Diane bought the home of Captain Nathaniel West about 30 years ago with the intention of establishing the best inn within the city of Salem. So the inn is actually made up of 3 houses that date back to the 19th century. Those are the West House, the Kerwin House, and the Peabody House. So altogether, that would feature 42 rooms. The encounters in the inn are simply described as undeniable, and both guests and employees have had experiences in every single room. People have most often experienced things going missing, specifically coal logs from the fireplaces and freshly set up candles disappearing from where they were placed. That could get annoying. That could get annoying really quick.
Like, can you imagine just...
Stop that, my boss is gonna yell at me again. Why aren't these candles set up? I just set them up! So there is one room in particular that is apparently notorious for ghostly activity, and that is room 17. So for those of you who are brave enough to stay there, not me, personal belongings will often go missing or move to different locations. Sightings of dark shadows are often seen, and people have even experienced apparitions suddenly appearing in their beds. As again, no thank you.
All I'm thinking of is like a ghost in like one of those "Hey baby" poses.
Hey, you alone tonight? Want
How
some
you
company?
doing?
Bad.
That's all I can think of is you know the guy from all of the like romance novels that like grandmas would read.
Oh yeah, like the Fabio types.
Yeah, just
Yeah.
Fabio ghost. hair mystically blowing in the wind that
There's no wind.
Shirt open, chest hair blowing in the wind too.
He's glistening for some reason.
And then he just goes, "How you doing?"
Eyebrows.
Eyebrows. Alright, so ghost appears in the bed.
Mm-hmm. So as to hoopst. As to who haunts this room, we're not too sure, but most folks believe it to be a woman. The story apparently goes that she was murdered by her husband, so now her spirit haunts the room and bothers any man that stays there as a means of revenge.
I can get behind it. Go girl.
She apparently becomes super active if any man ends up staying there, especially at night, in order to disrupt their sleep. Go off, Ghost Queen.
You know what? No, you know what it actually is? I would love it to be Ghost Queen, but really it's Fabio going, "Where's the cute women?"
I'm upset.
I'm upset.
I'm a heterosexual and I'm upset.
I have no one to be in bed with.
This is bullshit. But if it is a woman, she usually disrupts her male guests by causing loud noises in the closet and stomping around the room. But, fellas, if you find yourself in this room, there is a way to win her over. Apparently, if you leave out a tumbler of whiskey or any sort of alcohol, she'll leave you alone.
My girl.
A woman after my own heart, honestly.
Right. So, it's either... it's one of two things. It's Ghost Queen. Or you're getting Fabio drunk and...
He said, okay, this is fine, whatever.
Fine. Have a male roommate for a night. It's fine.
This isn't what I wanted.
To lay with.
This'll do.
Put on a wig. You could look like one. Just taking shots.
That's it. The drunker he gets, the prettier you look.
There you go. That's why Fabio doesn't fuck with you.
Oh, no.
I want someone to make a fan art of Ghost Fabio.
Yes, please do it. Oh my god.
That's what I want
need
in my
it.
life right now. I want it to be my phone screensaver.
Yeah, someone make us a new background, please.
Yeah. Come on, it'll be the cover art for
Yes, our
for a
mascot
special
for a while.
episode on just Fabio.
So, other guests and members of staff often have encounters with a child or the spirit of a kitty cat. The cat has been spotted in room 11, and there was an encounter of a door slamming spirit in room 40. So those are your rooms. 17, 11, and 40. I would go with room 11. I want to hang out with a ghost cat.
I mean, yeah, because watch it not be like watch it not
It's
be
like,
a ghost cat. It's just a fucking white fluffy cat that just is walking around and being like, they all think I'm dead, but I'm here.
people give me the scratches, I keep coming back. What do you want from me?
I live here now. This is my spot.
So I think I have time for one more, my last one, and I think you'll appreciate the name of this one.
Okay.
It's called Bunghole Liquors. Just gonna let you sit with that one.
I need you to repeat that one more time.
Bunghole Liquors.
You mean to tell me? You mean to tell me that some man, because it was a man.
Oh, yes. I will confirm that right now. Yes, it was.
Some man woke up one morning and was like, I've got the best name.
It has quite an interesting backstory.
Bung hole liquor.
Yep.
All right. So I've been making a list of phrases and like things that I hear. That's going on the list.
Yes.
Bung, like, is it like B-U-N-G?
Yeah, it's exactly how you think it's spelled.
Bung.
It's exactly what you think it is. Bunghole.
Is it one word or two?
It's one word.
Oh God, that's so much worse.
Their slogan. Oh, go ahead.
No, is liquors like liquor or liquor?
No. Oh.
Why do you think I was sitting here making fun of this?
I thought you were just like laughing at bunghole. I didn't even put that together.
It's literally...
I'm sorry, I have passed away. Oh my God.
Nope. Bunghole liquor.
All right, yep. If you guys are listening, there you go. There's your new merch idea.
This is why I sat here and I'm like, do you mean to tell me that a man woke up one morning and was like, I've got the name. And I'll be bunghole. I can't. Okay, wait. So I know why I'm giggling. Because bunghole. You mean to tell me there's a reason that the liquor is named bunghole?
Yes, it wasn't. It's not as dirty as we're interpreting it, but
I mean, I can interpret it some fucking ways here, man.
I mean, their slogan nowadays is, we're not number one, but we are pretty good, with BUTT. Okay. So let me give you this weird ass history on bunghole liquors. So as we know, during the Prohibition, people had to get crafty with how they got their booze.
Oh
Well,
no. Booze up people's butts.
So enter the local undertaker, who used his funeral home basement
Mm-hmm.
as the drinking spot, which, yes, was also where he embalmed the bodies.
Well, you know how I
So,
feel about embalming of bodies, so.
yes. Yeah, so everyone was just kind of cool with it, like hanging out next to the medical equipment and like actual corpses and getting shit-faced.
Yo, you know what? Rock cut whiskey was a thing. People like loved
Ooh.
that shit.
Woo.
Poe like wrote like, well, in my theory,
Mm-hmm.
my literary analysis theory that I created when I was in high school because I was obsessed with Poe.
Yeah.
Mask of the Red Death, in part, was named and written for a drink that was called the Red Death,
Ugh.
and the main liquor in that drink for his time was rock gut whiskey. And
Ooh.
motherfucker could not handle his liquor. He had a complete intolerance to alcohol, period. So he could have like a sip and he'd
Before
be
he was
completely
doing.
inebriated. Yeah. So, okay, rock gut whiskey.
Mm-hmm.
Bum.
Yes. Ooh, sorry. Right. So, the name The Bunghole was actually, oh wait, hold on. I just like skipped a whole area. So this place got so popular during the Prohibition that the owner turned the funeral home into a bar after the ban on alcohol was lifted, thanks to a suggestion from one of his drinking buddies.
There you go.
So the name The Bunghole was actually suggested by a family member of the owner who was a Polish priest of all people.
Okay.
He
So again, I ask you.
was hanging out with some characters.
I mean, I say this knowing that I am very Catholic.
Mm-hmm.
You're telling me a priest
Yep.
came up with the name
Mm-hmm.
bunghole liquor.
Yes.
Nah.
But at the time, I don't think it meant the same thing that it means now.
That's
So, because,
bullshit.
yeah. So, listen. So, this was a slang term they used as their meeting spot. So, their password to get in was, "See you at the bunghole."
No. It was they couldn't pronounce butthole is really what this is.
So, the actual term bunghole is used for, like, the hole in, like, a whiskey barrel. That's what the
Okay.
original term is, but, like,
Wait a second. You mean to tell me that their fucking secret code to get into drinking during the Prohibition was the name and the terminology used in a fucking whiskey cask?
yeah. It's not very subtle.
And no one was like,
That's suspicious.
maybe we should check that out.
Yeah, but so like the Undertaker was so gung ho about converting this place into a liquor store slash like bar, whatever, that he was the second person in Salem to obtain a liquor license, and he buried most of his embalming equipment in the walls. Like the owners of the store now say that if you tear down like one of the walls in the basement, you would find old embalming tubes and empty liquor bottles.
Okay, I have questions.
Yes.
Why? All right, the bottles I understand because
Mm-hmm.
Prohibition, you needed a place to like get rid of the evidence. Why not hide them in your walls?
Right.
Why would you hide the fucking tools of your trade in the wall?
I don't know.
Like, what does that do?
I don't know. Maybe he just didn't have a good way to get rid of them, or just didn't think to actually throw them in the trash. He was like, yeah, let's put them in the walls, sell them to someone else.
I get that they didn't have like Facebook Marketplace, but like, come on. eBay might not have been a thing, but I feel like there was probably at least one other person embalming people there.
Yeah, there had to be some other, like, undertaker in the next town over, just like, hey, do you want this stuff? I'm no longer the town undertaker.
Yeah. Yeah. Here, I
But,
want to give you
yeah.
my bloody tube.
It's yours now.
Use
My
it
legacy
well.
lives on with you. So, the
Okay,
ghosts...
alright. Oh my god.
The ghosts are mostly hanging out in the basement, as you can imagine, because of all the bodies.
Clearly.
But employees confirm that there is activity throughout the building. A big part of Salem's hauntings is apparently due to a huge group of ghost cats that wander around the city and make their way through open doors. So some employees have confessed that they have felt cats rub up against their legs when there are no animals around. Really cute. Employees have also mentioned a strange woman often coming in, but then disappearing. For example, one employee accidentally bumped into a woman, but then glanced up and she was gone. She also has been spotted browsing the wine collection. One of the managers who claimed to be a skeptic also states that they've captured strange orbs on the security cameras in the basement, thought to be the people who used to party down there. And that's it for the ghosts there.
I'm stuck.
Are you stuck on the bunghole liquors?
Yes, I am. Because
I'm gonna be thinking about that all night.
I mean, I would love it for it to not sound like it sounds, but it fucking sounds like butthole liquor. Like, not liquor, like candy is dandy, but liquor is quicker. No, I mean...
No, I understand.
Nah. And for those of you not watching the video, every time you've heard me make that noise, I'm also pretending to lick the air for Lauren.
I love it. Thank you very much.
And that noise. They make that noise too.
Well, on that strange note, that's all I have for the ghosts.
Oh.
I hope that brought things up for people. Ended on a good note, hopefully.
Yeah, go get yourselves some bunghole liquor.
I can't believe I didn't put that together.
I can't either. I'm gotta be honest. I thought that's what you were like teeing me up for.
Oh. I just thought the word bunghole was funny.
I mean, bunghole, yes. But when you pair it with the fucking word liquor at the end of it.
Oh my god.
Bunghole liquor.
Alright.
Alright,
well,
guys.
This comes out November 26th, so happy post-Thanksgiving or Friendsgiving if you celebrate either, but more importantly, happy Native American Heritage Day, which is on Friday. Yes.
Yay. So,
yes,
there's that, and, be safe, be careful if you decide to venture out for Black Friday.
Oh god, yeah, I forgot about that too. Yeah. I like to stay home during Black Friday and just use the internet. Because I don't want to get punched in the face by Karen.
Well, and it's the Philadelphia premium outlets have had reports of gun violence for the last several Black Fridays. So,
oh god,
if you choose to participate in this holiday, that is a fucking nightmare over there. But if you choose to participate in this shit, do so safely and wisely, and be aware of your fucking surroundings.
Wear pads or armor or something.
Wear red.
Wear red.
Hide under the bodies.
All right, y'all. We'll see you next week. Goodbye.
Bye, bungholes.